Okay, here's part 2 on how to fix crappy compost. We're going to start here, but we're not going to start here. Don't worry, it'll make sense in a minute. I think our compost level was up to here. It cooked down to about halfway, as I told you it would. Over here, we got a tarp. Right here, we got another pallet set up with some of that 1/2-inch hardware cloth on it. We'll come to that in a minute, but we're going to start with the easy part inside. So follow me inside the compost farm. So, for part 2 of this, there's the lousy stuff that I, started working on. Right here, I have some steel cut oats that I put in the Vitamix and basically made flour out of it. Come to that in a second. In this bag, I got volcanic rock dust, okay? And over here, a little bit of biochar. It's really this simple when it comes to this stuff. See, we're not going through a thermophilic process over here, so I don't have to let it cool down. Right now, all my friends, okay, the beneficial stuff I put in there, it's been working overtime. Now, the number one problem we run into when we look at it under the microscope is there's almost never any fungus, ever, in any of this. And we want at least a 50-50 mix of bacteria to fungi. Now, if we're going to be using it in a food forest, we're going to want a 10-to-1 ratio of fungi being the higher end. And then if you were to go to an old growth forest, it could be as high as 1,000-to-1. Well, we're not really concerned with that right now. We just want to get this stuff to where it's at least 50-50, okay? And you're never going to find it that way, at least none of the places I've been to around here. It's going to be quite this simple, okay? Now, I wet it down before. I'm not necessarily going to have to wet it down right now. I'm just going to go ahead and start, get myself a couple of little pitchforks full, maybe about 3 of them. 1, 2. The moisture, I can tell you right now, is already looking pretty good. So let me just double check it. I should squeeze it and be able to get a drop. You can probably see it in between my knuckles there. Now, you might be asking, why on earth is he wearing rubber gloves? Folks, I have no idea what's in this junk. I don't. Until my guys wipe it out, I need to exercise a little bit of caution, and so should you. Because honestly, this stuff is really that bad. And to think that this is some of the highly touted stuff. Now, I got a little bed of it down there, and it's really going to consist of this. Now, I'm going to use the volcanic rock dust. I'm just going to get a hand of it, kind of sprinkle it on there. Okay, the moisture's good, so I know I don't have to worry about that. In here, I got my steel cut oats that I turned into oat flour. I'm putting that in here. So before I move on, let me explain exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, so here's a little trick I got from Jeff Lawton by way of Eric Cider. This is one of the foods that fungus love. Now, there was no fungus in that pile. If it was, we couldn't see it under the microscope. But I am adding fungus every single time I water this stuff with my extract. So I'm giving them food to say, hey, well, this is like your fast carb. It's not, but just kind of look at it this way. View this as maybe the fast carbs for your fungus. And then when they get off and running, they're going to start breaking down that wood chip in there. The volcanic rock dust has so many wonderful benefits. You can use it in your garden. This is a little trick I got from Stefan Subkowiak, Mr. Permaculture Orchard himself. And it's a fantastic trick. So what's happening is when your bacteria and fungus are breaking down things, they're taking the sand, silts, and clays, and they're making what's in those things, I'm simplifying this very simply, bioavailable for your plants. Well, why not let it be some volcanic rock dust, okay? By the way, that's one of the, for a lot of the people in this world that are doing some really awesome compost, that's one of the secret ingredients. And then a little bit of biochar. I'm not going to go crazy with this stuff. And here's a trick I got from my man Jack Spearco. So folks, honestly, as this unfolds, you're seeing the amalgamation of probably 15 different people in this space, all in what you're seeing right now. And I always love to give attribution, especially to the people that taught me. So, why am I going to use this biochar? Well, it's creating apartments for all my beneficial things that I'm putting down in here. Now, like I said, I'll constantly water this thing with all of my beneficial guys. So, got that down. And now, it's simply, wow, the moisture is absolutely fantastic. This is why you want to cover it up. So I'm gonna get it over here, and I always want to add air, so you'll see that I shake it as I put it down. I'll do 3 more, and then I'm gonna just repeat the process all the way up. All right, that's a wrap on this one. So it's filed up, the moisture's good. I showed you what you ought to be looking for in terms of moisture. And I'm just gonna kind of do a Mexican hat dance on the bottom of this thing, get it kicked in, and then it's critical at this point to make sure you cover it up, because number one, it's gonna help promote, you know, the fungus really doesn't like to be in any kind of light, so we're gonna help them out. Also, it's gonna retain some of the moisture. So I'll put this on there and then we'll move on to the next one. This one has been cooking at 131 degrees, right at 131 for about 3 days. And that's what we want, okay? There's different charts, and we'll talk about that in a later video. Like I said, we'll give you pieces at a time. Now, this cooked down quite a bit, but I'll bet $1 to donuts that it's quite anaerobic on the inside because this pile was so doggone wet. But it's not the end of the world, so we'll get that out of there. And one thing I really love about using this method, as far as with a cage as opposed to the ground, is that when I take the cage off, this thing will stay put. So I want to give a hat tip to Dr. Elaine Ingham for giving me that method. As you can see, folks, you can see I'm giving a whole lot of hat tips here because, you know what, there's a whole lot of people that we're bringing to bear to do this thing. Now I'm just going to reassemble my cage here. And this is nothing more than just some 1/2-inch hardware cloth attached to some woven wire fence. It's really that simple. I just need something to hold it there. You can have any number of things, but this is what I'm using. I mean, it's on hand, it's easy to use, and it's ready to rock and roll. Now, let's come back over here. Now, the cool thing about using this method, the cool thing about doing it is, number one, in a Berkeley pile or 18-day, or a Berkeley pile basically, an 18-day compost method, which is what many of you know it as, you're gonna flip it maybe 9 times, that's if you get it right, in 18 days, okay? This one, I'm only gonna flip it 3 times. You may have to do it more to refine it a little bit more, but all we're gonna do is separate it from top, middle, and bottom. Now I'm going to take the top and I'm going to put it right here on this tarp. The reason why the tarp helps is it just makes it easier working with it. So I'm going to take this top, and I guarantee this stuff is going to be wet. It's going to be not pleasant, and you can sense the smell, because I can smell it and tell, it's not wonderful. And it's not just the urine I put in there the other day. I wanted to heat it up a little bit more, so I used a little urine. I did that one on Patreon. So I'm gonna get this off of here. I'm gonna basically take the top off. Now imagine the center of this cylinder. The hottest part is like a ball on the inside, okay? I'm gonna basically take off the top, strip down some of the sides, and I'm gonna put that over here. And then the middle, the hot core, I'm gonna put into that new cage. It's gonna now be my new bottom, okay? And then the stuff over here is going to be my new center, and then the stuff on the bottom will be the new top. And then I'll do that one more time. So all I'm gonna do at this point is do exactly what I told you I'm doing. Like I said, this here is a little bit wet, a little bit, yeah, I can tell I got a bunch of actinobacteria. It's a little bit wet, a little bit unpleasant, but it's not like the first time we've ever done this. This is why, you know, I wouldn't say you become competent at this thing until you've done it several times, because you're always going to have those situations where you got something you never dealt with before, or maybe it's not that uncommon. Now I can feel that in there, and I can feel it's warm. Okay, it's not burning up, but it is warm. We'll get this over here, and then we'll come back to it when we're ready to do the next section. Okay, so we got the top off, and then you can see this little cone part. It's not exactly broken down, but you can see where it's getting there. Like right up here, you can tell where it's a little bit darker. Okay, we got some stuff that still needs to be broken down. Don't worry, it'll handle it in the process. Now, I'm gonna take the center of this out. Remember, this part is like a ball. This is the hot molten center, okay? We're gonna take that and we're gonna do what you see me do right now. I'm gonna shake it out as I do it. It's a little bit wet. And I'm gonna make it the new bottom. So I'm gonna take this, take my time, and we're gonna make it the new bottom. There you go. Now, I'm coming across some chicken feathers. That's wonderful. And a chicken leg. And we'll just go ahead and get hot on that. So, as you can see, it looks like a bowl here. Okay, we got all that hot stuff out there, and you want to feel it if you have to. And then we made a bowl out of it in here, because now we're going to take this stuff that's sitting on the tarp over here behind me. Now it becomes the center, and what's left here will become the top. Alrighty, as you can see, it's mounded up in the middle, because that is now going to be the hot center. Remember that cylinder I'm telling you about. So every part of this pile will have a center, have its little time in the sun in the center, okay? So the bottom will now become the top. And then the next time we flip it, the top will then become the center, okay? So every part will have all been in the center. So with that said, all I'm gonna do, and this is why I love this method so doggone much. It's just easier to work with, easier on your back too, instead of having to get on the ground 100% of the time. And I'm not getting any younger, so I like to shake it up a little bit, add a little air. That's important. You're gonna make sure when you do this, I try to do it here, and then I do it when I'm over. Now it's nice and fluffy, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So I'll start filling the sides, and we're not gonna pound it down or nothing. We're just gonna get it in there. And if it looks like it's clumped up, shake it out. All right, so that's a wrap. And just like last time, I put my thermometer in halfway. Now remember, go out there and check your thermometer every single day, because this thing will cook down. So that means you need to reposition your thermometer to where it's just about center, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to have it pretty darn close. Some people want to put in 3 different thermometers. One is working just fine for me and has been for some time. So with the benefit of hindsight, I wish I would have made this cage a little bit tighter. Not the end of the world, because you see where it is now. It's going to cook down probably to here, but I'll make adjustments on the next one. Look, the most important thing is make sure you get your pile big enough. And number 2, obviously you want enough material. But one of the big things for me is I want to make sure that my nitrogen is a little bit higher than I had it before. This time it ought to heat up just fine, because now the water content isn't so high that it's going to make this thing want to act more anaerobic on the inside, okay? So it ought to heat up just fine. So I'm liking that. And then if it doesn't, I'm going to grab another gallon of urine, my urine, and I'm going to stick it in here, and it's going to help it heat up. In fact, I might just go ahead and do that anyway. Now, I am going to go ahead and take that tarp and stick it over the top and put bungee cords around the sides. Reason for that is, number 1, it's going to help it build up the heat a little. It's going to keep the heat in. Number 2, well, it's been raining every other day, and I can't just have this thing get saturated, so we're going to do that. And number 3, the moisture is just about where I want it to be, so I'm liking where we are right now. So this stuff is composting, and we are going to transform that junk into something that's respectable, something you would like to put in your garden. All right, y'all, if you need any comfort, go check us out at the website. Need bone sauce, we got some of that too. We're trying to make it in between the raindrops, doing the best we can. Want to thank everybody out there for your support. Until next time, stay alert, stay alive.